We don't talk enough to each other. And people and communities and ethnic groups, we kind of distrust each other.
Who becomes Pope when the Church is divided, the world is watching, and everything is at stake? After the death of Pope Francis on 21st April 2025, 20 cardinals stepped into the spotlight. Each brings a clear ideology. Some call for reform, others push for tradition, and a few stand in between. Who are they? What do they believe? And which one could reshape the future of Catholicism? Let's explore the 20 papal prospects in detail. 1. Cardinal Raymond Leo Burke, United States, ultra-conservative traditionalist. Born in Richland Center, Wisconsin, Cardinal Raymond Leo Burke has long stood as the standard-bearer of Catholic traditionalism in the United States. After earning degrees in canon law from the Pontifical Gregorian University in Rome, Burke rose through the ecclesiastical ranks, serving as Bishop of La Crosse and later Archbishop of St. Louis. His elevation to the College of Cardinals came under Pope Benedict XVI in 2010, solidifying his status among the Church's staunch conservatives. Burke's theological stance is rooted in strict adherence to pre-Vatican II traditions. He is a fierce defender of the Latin Mass, traditional marriage, clerical celibacy, and absolute opposition to abortion and same-sex unions. His criticism of Pope Francis, especially regarding pastoral openness to divorced and remarried Catholics, became a defining feature of his public persona. In 2023, Burke's tensions with the Vatican culminated in the revocation of his Vatican apartment and salary, an extraordinary move highlighting the rift within the hierarchy. If elected Pope, Burke would likely pursue a vigorous reassertion of traditional Catholic doctrine, tightening liturgical norms and doctrinal orthodoxy. However, his North American background, polarizing reputation, and confrontational style may work against his candidacy. His leadership would energize traditionalist factions, but could deepen internal divisions at a time when many seek healing and unity. 2. Cardinal Robert Sarah, Guinea, conservative traditionalist. From the West African nation of Guinea, Cardinal Robert Sarah has earned global recognition as a defender of orthodoxy and spiritual depth. Ordained a priest in 1969, Sarah rose rapidly under the papacies of John Paul II and Benedict XVI, eventually serving as prefect of the Congregation for Divine Worship and the Discipline of the Sacraments until his retirement in 2021. Sarah's theological vision emphasizes reverence for the liturgy, the necessity of clerical celibacy, and the dangers of secular ideologies such as gender theory. His co-authorship with Benedict XVI on a controversial book defending priestly celibacy drew worldwide attention and sharpened tensions with Pope Francis's more pastoral proposals. Throughout his ministry, Sarah has warned against what he sees as the dilution of Catholic truth in the face of modern cultural currents. If elevated to the papacy, Sarah would likely focus on spiritual renewal, restoring reverence in worship, and strengthening traditional teachings on marriage, family, and morality. His potential election would make history as the first African pope in centuries, offering symbolic resonance for the burgeoning Catholic communities across Africa. However, his advanced age and firm conservatism could limit his appeal among cardinals favoring continuity with Francis's reforms. 3. Cardinal Gerhard Ludwig Müller, Germany, conservative doctrinal defender. Cardinal Gerhard Ludwig Müller, former prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, stands as a formidable voice for theological precision within the Catholic Church. Hailing from Mainz, Germany, Müller's career has blended pastoral experience with rigorous academic achievement, including authorship of significant theological works and collaboration with liberation theology Gustavo Gutierrez, albeit within a framework loyal to Church orthodoxy. Appointed by Benedict XVI and retained by Francis for a time, Müller's tenure at the Vatican was marked by controversy over his firm doctrinal positions. His outspoken criticisms of Francis's more flexible interpretations of doctrine, particularly regarding communion for the divorced and remarried, led to his removal in 2017. Since then, Müller has continued to champion a return to strict orthodoxy and warned against perceived theological confusion within the Church. A Muller papacy would likely entail a reassertion of doctrinal clarity and centralized authority, emphasizing traditional moral teachings and resisting progressive theological trends. His intellectual stature and German background offer a strong European profile, yet his strained relationship with Francis and limited pastoral warmth may pose challenges in rallying broad support among the cardinals. 4. Cardinal Willem Jacobus Eijk, Netherlands. Hardline bioethics stance. A medical doctor by training before entering the priesthood, Cardinal Willem Jacobus Eijk brings a rare combination of scientific and theological expertise to the Catholic hierarchy. Born in Duivendrecht, Netherlands, and currently serving as Archbishop of Utrecht, Eijk has been a vocal critic of moral relativism and secularism, especially in Western Europe. He was elevated to the College of Cardinals by Pope Benedict XVI in 2012. Cardinal Eijk is especially known for his firm positions on bioethical issues. He has consistently spoken against euthanasia, same-sex marriage, and gender theory, which he regards as direct threats to the natural moral law. His background in medical ethics has given additional weight to his interventions in public debates, particularly in the Netherlands, where euthanasia is legal and widely practiced. His relationship with Pope Francis has remained respectful but distant. Eijk has expressed concern about what he sees as doctrinal ambiguity in the current pontificate, particularly following the publication of Amoris Laetitia. His call for clarity in moral teaching reflects his deeply held belief that the Church must provide certainty in a world increasingly defined by confusion. If elected, Eijk would likely focus on restoring doctrinal discipline, particularly in bioethics, liturgy, and catechesis. His rigid moral stance, however, may be viewed as too uncompromising by cardinals who prefer a more pastoral tone. His European origin and intellectual background could work in his favor among more conservative electors. 5. Cardinal Angelo Amato, Italy, defender of orthodoxy and saints' causes. Continuing the theme of doctrinal defenders, Cardinal Angelo Amato stands as one of the most experienced voices in Rome. Born in Molfetta, Italy, and a member of the Salesian order, Amato served as the prefect of the Congregation for the Causes of Saints until his retirement in 2018. Before that, he was secretary of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith under then-Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger. Cardinal Amato is known for his deep loyalty to church orthodoxy and his extensive knowledge of theology, dogma, and liturgical norms. While he has never been a media-facing cardinal, his influence behind the scenes in shaping sainthood causes and doctrinal responses has been substantial. His careful approach, coupled with intellectual clarity, has won him admiration among Vatican insiders. Though retired, Amato remains a respected elder within the conservative bloc. He has rarely voiced public disagreement with Pope Francis, but his silence has often been interpreted as quiet resistance to more progressive developments. His academic and curial experience would bring institutional continuity to the papacy, especially among those who believe the Church needs steady hands rather than bold reform. His election is considered unlikely due to his age and lower international profile, but if chosen, Amato would certainly represent a return to a more reserved, doctrinally focused leadership style. His papacy would emphasize tradition, liturgical propriety, and cautious governance. 6. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Italy, moderate diplomatic veteran. From staunch conservatives, the focus now turns to one of the most widely recognized and institutionally powerful candidates, Cardinal Pietro Parolin. Serving as the Vatican's Secretary of State since 2013, Parolin has been at the center of Catholic diplomacy and church governance for more than a decade. Born in Schiavon, Italy, his career includes extensive work in Vatican diplomacy, with postings in Nigeria and Mexico before rising to the highest administrative role under Pope Francis. Parolin is considered the quintessential Vatican insider. He has overseen major diplomatic initiatives, including the controversial agreement with China on the appointment of bishops, and negotiations involving the Middle East and Venezuela. While not identified with the theological progressivism of Pope Francis, Parolin has supported many of his diplomatic and institutional reforms with pragmatism and loyalty. His ideology is considered moderate, aiming for balance rather than confrontation. He supports social justice efforts and environmental action, but avoids doctrinal controversies. His administrative experience, political acumen, and global network of relationships make him a formidable contender for the papacy. If elected, Parolin would likely aim to consolidate the gains of Francis's papacy while restoring a more reserved and centralized form of church governance. His election would signal continuity in diplomacy and pragmatism in leadership, appealing to cardinals seeking stability and international credibility. 7. Cardinal Leonardo Sandre, Argentina, balanced curial leader. Another candidate with deep roots in Vatican diplomacy and curial leadership is Cardinal Leonardo Sandre. Born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Sandre is best known for announcing the death of Pope John Paul II in 2005. Since then, he has held several senior roles in the Roman Curia, most notably as prefect of the Congregation for the Eastern Churches from 2007 until his retirement in 2022. Sandre is regarded as a stabilizing presence with vast institutional knowledge. His work with Eastern Catholic churches has given him insight into global Catholic diversity and liturgical traditions, especially in regions facing political and religious upheaval. Though less publicly visible than other cardinals, his respect within curial circles is strong. Ideologically, Sandre is seen as a centrist. He has supported the pastoral focus of Francis while upholding traditional doctrine without public friction. His long-standing relationships across the Vatican and various episcopal conferences give him broad appeal, especially among those who value quiet diplomacy over public confrontation. Given his age and retirement status, his election is less likely, but not impossible. If chosen, Sandre would bring measured leadership, institutional harmony, and a pastoral tone shaped by decades of service in the heart of church governance. 8. Cardinal Péter Erdo, Hungary, conservative European voice. From the diplomatic corridors of Rome to the heart of Central Europe, Cardinal Péter Erdo represents a blend of canonical precision and pastoral leadership. Born in Budapest, Hungary, Erdo currently serves as the Archbishop of Esztergom, Budapest, and Primate of Hungary. He previously served as President of the Council of European Bishops' Conferences, which extended his influence across the continent. Cardinal Erdo is a respected canon lawyer with a reputation for intellectual depth and disciplined governance. He is widely seen as one of the strongest conservative voices within Europe's episcopate. His theological positions align closely with the teachings of Pope John Paul II and Benedict XVI, particularly in upholding church doctrine on family, bioethics, and the role of tradition. While not openly critical of Pope Francis, Erdo has maintained a distinct pastoral approach that emphasizes clarity over flexibility. He gained international attention during the Synod on the Family in 2015, where his interventions supported traditional teachings on marriage and Eucharistic discipline. Erdo's candidacy appeals to those within the Church who seek a pope with European intellectual gravitas and a firm grasp of canon law. His election would likely mean a shift toward doctrinal firmness and administrative rigor, especially in theological education and episcopal governance. 9. Cardinal Marc Ouellet, Canada, conservative yet pastoral bridge builder. As the final conservative candidate within this group of moderates, Cardinal Marc Ouellet offers a profile that blends theological firmness with global pastoral sensitivity. Born in Lamotte, Quebec, in Canada, he was elevated to the College of Cardinals in 2003 by Pope John Paul II. Ouellet served as prefect of the Congregation for Bishops from 2010 until his resignation in early 2023, making him one of the most experienced curial leaders of the past decade. Ouellet's theological outlook aligns closely with the tradition of Benedict XVI, marked by clear doctrine and strong liturgical values. However, his diplomatic demeanor and multilingual ability have allowed him to work comfortably across both conservative and progressive episcopal circles. He has consistently emphasized the need for unity and communion within the global church. In 2022, Ouellet faced allegations of misconduct related to his time as Archbishop of Quebec. These were later reviewed and dismissed, but they somewhat dimmed his public profile. Despite this, his long-standing Vatican experience, academic background, and international reach ensure he remains a respected figure among the cardinals. If chosen, a papacy under Ouellet would likely aim for theological clarity while seeking to avoid polarization, valuing both fidelity to doctrine and attentive pastoral care in a globalized world. 10. Cardinal JeanClaude Hollerish, Luxembourg, centrist with global outlook. As we move into the centrist progressive spectrum, Cardinal JeanClaude Hollerish of Luxembourg stands as a compelling voice for a church rooted in dialogue. Born in Differdange in 1958 and a Jesuit by formation, Hollerish has served as Archbishop of Luxembourg since 2011 and was made a cardinal by Pope Francis in 2019. His international background includes time in Japan as a missionary and educator, giving him a distinctly global perspective. Hollerish currently serves as the General Rapporteur of the Synod on Synodality, a central initiative of Pope Francis's pontificate aimed at fostering greater participation and discernment within the Church. Ideologically, he is seen as a centrist with progressive leanings. While he has defended Church teaching, Hollerish has also called for openness in discussing sensitive topics such as homosexuality, gender, and lay participation. These remarks have sparked criticism from traditionalists, but earned him respect from reform-minded clergy and laity. If elected pope, Hollerish would likely continue and deepen Francis's synodal model, favoring consultation and inclusivity. His approach to leadership would reflect his Jesuit identity, globally minded, reflective, and mission-driven, rooted not in confrontation, but in listening and discernment. 11. Cardinal Matteo Zupi, Italy, progressive diplomat and peacemaker. The Italian Episcopal Conference's current president, Cardinal Matteo Zupi, embodies a pastoral and socially engaged vision for the Church. Born in Rome in 1955 and ordained in 1981, Zupi has long been connected to the community of Sant'Egidio, a lay movement dedicated to peace-building, dialogue, and service to the poor. Zupi was appointed Archbishop of Bologna in 2015 and created a cardinal by Pope Francis in 2019. He has built a reputation as a bridge builder both within the Church and in international contexts. In 2023, he was personally tasked by Pope Francis with leading peace efforts in Ukraine and Russia, underscoring his status as a trusted diplomatic agent of the Holy See. Ideologically, Zupi aligns closely with the Franciscan vision, prioritizing mercy, social justice, and pastoral outreach. He has openly supported a more inclusive approach to LGBTQ Catholics and has called for the Church to speak more clearly to the needs of modern families and marginalized communities. If elected, a Zupi papacy would likely be seen as a direct continuation of Pope Francis's vision, one rooted in proximity to people, dialogue with other religions, and global peacemaking. His Roman roots and soft-spoken yet firm leadership style make him a natural candidate to unite progressives and centrists. 12. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, Philippines, progressive pastoral voice. Crossing from Europe to Asia, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle of the Philippines is among the most charismatic and globally recognized figures in the Church today. Born in Manila in 1957, Tagle served as Archbishop of Manila from 2011 until 2019, when he was appointed prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples by Pope Francis. Tagle is known for his emotional intelligence, storytelling, and deep theological knowledge. He has often been compared to Pope Francis in his pastoral tone and commitment to the poor. His academic training includes a doctorate from the Catholic University of America, and he speaks several languages fluently, including English, Italian, and Tagalog. He has supported greater inclusion for divorced Catholics and called for compassion over condemnation on issues such as unwed motherhood and same-sex attraction, though he has remained within the bounds of established doctrine. His work within Caritas Internationalis and his role in Asian evangelization efforts have cemented his reputation as a global Catholic leader. A Tagle papacy would reflect a strong continuity with Francis, amplifying the voice of the Global South and focusing on evangelization, mercy, and social outreach. His warmth and cross-cultural appeal would likely energize Catholics across continents. 13. Cardinal Blase Cupich, United States, strong advocate for reform. Returning to the United States, Cardinal Blase Cupich of Chicago stands out as a firm advocate for the Church's pastoral transformation. Born in Omaha, Nebraska in 1949, Cupich was appointed Archbishop of Chicago in 2014 and created a cardinal by Pope Francis in 2016, an appointment seen as symbolic of the Pope's trust in his reform-minded American allies. Cupich has emphasized accompaniment, inclusion, and institutional reform throughout his ministry. He supports enhanced roles for lay people, greater accountability in abuse prevention, and a church that responds dynamically to societal changes. His theological views are in line with the pastoral approach of Pope Francis, especially concerning communion for divorced and remarried Catholics and outreach to LGBTQ persons. While respected by progressives, Cupich has faced strong resistance from conservative quarters in the American hierarchy. His leadership in the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops and his influence over episcopal appointments mark him as one of the most influential American cardinals of the current era. If elected, Cupich would be expected to continue a reformist path with a particular focus on pastoral realism, social inclusion, and institutional transparency. His election would likely be welcomed by Catholics hoping to see the American Church take a more prominent and progressive global role. 14. Cardinal Joseph Tobin, United States, inclusive pastor. From Chicago to Newark, the landscape of progressive Catholic leadership in the United States continues with Cardinal Joseph Tobin. Born in Detroit in 1952, Tobin was appointed Archbishop of Newark in 2016 and made a cardinal by Pope Francis the same year. His pastoral career is marked by his work with the Redemptorist order and his emphasis on humility and closeness to the marginalized. Tobin is often described as a bridge builder, advocating for a church that welcomes migrants, supports LGBTQ Catholics, and provides healing spaces for those hurt by institutional failures. He famously opposed efforts to restrict refugee resettlement in the United States and has championed initiatives promoting pastoral care over rigid rule enforcement. While Tobin has sometimes been criticized by conservative commentators for being too permissive, he remains committed to Catholic doctrine, emphasizing accompaniment rather than condemnation. His calm leadership during Newark's financial and clerical rebuilding phases has earned him respect among bishops in North America and beyond. If elected Pope, Tobin's leadership would likely continue Francis's pastoral vision with even greater emphasis on inclusivity, outreach, and a global vision of solidarity, especially for the displaced and disenfranchised. 15. Cardinal Kevin Farrell, Ireland, United States, family and laity reformer. Building further on the American contribution to Francis's church reform efforts is Cardinal Kevin Farrell. Born in Dublin in 1947, Farrell spent much of his early ministry in the United States, eventually becoming Bishop of Dallas before being called to Rome. In 2016, Pope Francis appointed him prefect of the Dicastery for Laity, Family, and Life, signaling the Vatican's renewed attention to lay participation. Farrell is known for his administrative skills and his focus on empowering lay Catholics, especially women, in leadership roles. He has consistently advocated for pastoral approaches to modern family life, aligning with Francis's vision outlined in Amoris Laetitia. His coordination of the World Meeting of Families in 2018 further solidified his reputation as a church leader concerned with practical, on-the-ground pastoral care rather than ideological battles. His work has not been without criticism, particularly concerning his previous associations with figures later implicated in scandals, though Farrell himself has not been accused of wrongdoing. Nevertheless, his contributions to strengthening lay involvement and promoting family life remain substantial. If elected, Farrell would likely continue expanding lay leadership within the Church, promoting family-centered ministry, and reinforcing pastoral approaches to complex modern realities. 16. Cardinal Fridlin Ambango Bassungu, Democratic Republic of Congo, conservative with social justice focus. Moving to Africa, Cardinal Fridlin Ambango Bassungu offers a different vision of Catholic leadership, one rooted in moral conservatism, combined with fierce advocacy for social justice. Born in Bodo in 1960, Ambango became Archbishop of Kinshasa in 2018 and was created cardinal by Pope Francis in 2019. Ambango has spoken out strongly against corruption, environmental exploitation, and political violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo, demonstrating a commitment to human dignity that extends beyond liturgical or doctrinal concerns. While conservative on issues of marriage and family, he aligns with Francis's emphasis on the preferential option for the poor. He was among the African leaders who resisted parts of the Vatican's Fiducia Supplicans document regarding blessings for same-sex couples, arguing that such pastoral practices must respect cultural realities without compromising doctrine. His leadership within the Symposium of Episcopal Conferences of Africa and Madagascar has elevated his global profile. If elected, Ambango could bring a papacy that defends traditional morality while placing the plight of the poor, the exploited, and the voiceless at the heart of the Church's mission, especially vital as Catholicism's growth increasingly shifts toward Africa. 17. Cardinal Dudon Ngoalainga, Central African Republic, pastoral and reconciliatory voice. The African voice in the Church's future leadership continues with Cardinal Dudon Ngoalainga, born in Bangassou in 1967. Elevated to the College of Cardinals in 2016 at the age of 49, Ngoalainga became the youngest cardinal at that time and remains one of the youngest among the current electors. As Archbishop of Bangui, he has been a courageous advocate for peace in a country devastated by civil war. His commitment to interreligious dialogue, particularly with Muslim leaders during periods of intense violence, stands as a testament to his pastoral heart and his vision of the Church as a reconciler in broken societies. Ngoalainga's approach is marked by grassroots pastoral care, forgiveness, and a deep understanding of the social dynamics of post-conflict environments. He has not been closely associated with controversial theological debates, preferring to focus on the Church's healing mission. If elected Pope, Ngoalainga would represent a youthful, dynamic, and peace-centered papacy, especially symbolic for a Church needing credible voices amid growing global instability. His election would signal a strong endorsement of reconciliation as a central pillar of Catholic witness. 18. Cardinal Oswald Gracias, India, moderate Global South leader. Turning to Asia, Cardinal Oswald Gracias of India brings decades of experience combining doctrinal faithfulness with pragmatic pastoral leadership. Born in Mumbai in 1944, Gracias has served as Archbishop of Bombay since 2006 and was elevated to the College of Cardinals by Pope Benedict XVI in 2007. Gracias has played a significant role on the international stage, serving as a member of Pope Francis's Council of Cardinals tasked with reforming the Roman Curia. He has been an advocate for stronger attention to Asian Catholic concerns within the global Church, focusing on religious freedom, interfaith dialogue, and the plight of minority Christian communities. Ideologically, Gracias is considered moderate. He has supported many of Francis's reforms while maintaining a cautious approach to more sensitive topics such as gender and family issues. His leadership during the sexual abuse crisis in India was notable for its emphasis on transparency and accountability. If chosen, Gracias would likely represent a papacy seeking to amplify the voice of the Global South, balance tradition with pastoral responsiveness, and strengthen the Church's role in advocating for religious coexistence in pluralistic societies. 19. Cardinal Sergio da Rocha, Brazil, progressive Latin American voice. As we move deeper into the growing influence of Latin America within the Church, Cardinal Sergio da Rocha stands as a prominent figure embodying both pastoral care and a progressive social vision. Born in Dobrada, Brazil in 1959, he served as Archbishop of Brasilia before becoming the Archbishop of São Salvador da Bahia in 2020. He was created a cardinal by Pope Francis in 2016. Da Rocha is known for his emphasis on social justice, solidarity with the poor, and a church that actively engages in the pressing issues of contemporary society. His leadership within the Brazilian Episcopal Conference and participation in the Synod for the Amazon highlight his concern for indigenous peoples, environmental protection, and the dignity of marginalized communities. Although firmly rooted in Catholic tradition, De Rocha has consistently championed the pastoral priorities of Pope Francis. He promotes dialogue over confrontation, seeking practical ways for the Church to respond to the needs of real families, diverse communities, and evolving social structures, particularly in Latin America, where Catholicism faces both growth and challenge. If elected, Cardinal De Rocha would likely amplify the Church's voice on ecological stewardship, indigenous rights, and economic inequality, positioning Catholicism as a moral leader in addressing global injustices with a spirit of mercy and pastoral presence. 20. Cardinal Baltasar Porras, Venezuela, defender of the Church amid crisis. Completing the circle of leading papal prospects is Cardinal Baltasar Porras, a veteran church leader who has demonstrated resilience and courage during Venezuela's political and economic collapse. Born in Caracas in 1944, Porras has served as the Apostolic Administrator of Caracas since 2018, following decades as Archbishop of Mérida. He was made a cardinal by Pope Francis in 2016. Throughout years of authoritarian rule, humanitarian crisis, and social disintegration in Venezuela, Porras has been a steadfast voice for human rights, the poor, and the Church's independence from political manipulation. His balanced approach, advocating for justice without becoming overtly partisan, has earned him both local admiration and international respect. While doctrinally moderate, Porras has shown remarkable firmness in defending the Church's freedom to speak out against injustice. His leadership has often involved navigating tensions between pastoral care, political realities, and the necessity of protecting Catholic communities caught in conflict. Should Porras be elected pope, his tenure would likely emphasize the Church's mission to accompany suffering populations, defend religious freedom, and serve as a mediator in fractured societies. His lived experience in Venezuela offers a unique testament to the Church's endurance amid persecution and hardship. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.